we're talking about what is turning out to be an impasse between the health workers in general. You're talking about nurses and doctors. In fact, the Ghana Medical Association itself has issued a statement on this. That's the suspension of the CEO of the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. The ministry has not indicated that that suspension has been lifted. The ministry has attempted to explain itself and says it is open to dialogue. The Ghana Medical Association also insists that that suspension has to be lifted and has gone ahead to say that the minister's action is creating difficulties for them. In fact, is attracting attacks and attacks to them, both verbally and physically, that the minister needs to change his approach to handling issues. The minister says that is not his intention. We'll speak to a man who has been mediating on these issues for so long, labor unrest, also when it comes to where people seem to be standing their ground, no middle ground. He's one of those who walks in and attempts to address these kinds of problems. We'll take his views on what he's hearing thus far and what needs to be done to improve the situation. We'll also be going back to our earlier discussion and the earlier one before that. So a few more things. Let's speak to Mr. Austin Gamey. Mr. Austin Gamey is a respected mediator in this country, labor, when it comes to labor issues. He's handled many of them and other issues outside labor that involves mediation. Thank you very much for your time and good morning to you, sir.
You're welcome.
I hope you're in good health.
I'm amazing grace, yeah.
Well, we thank God. First, I'm sure you're monitoring what has been happening between the health ministry, the workers at Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, especially the doctors and the nurses, over the suspension of the CEO by the health ministry. What do you think?
Well, it's most unfortunate. I wasn't around, but I've been reading around about it. And judging from what I do know, I think that is some kind of miscalculation, especially on the part of my friends, the doctors and the nurses that joined them. Of course, could the minister have done it another way? Yes, perhaps in another way, but all said and done, they are on strike, and the most important thing is to get them back now to prevent the suffering from escalating.
The doctors seem to be clearing their minds as to what will get them back on the table. That's the lifting of the suspension. Should that be done?
No, this is not an issue for negotiation per se. The first thing and the reality is that patients' safety and the protection of their professionalism is, yes, true and important to make such clinical decisions to sort of protect their patients. But the other reality is that there are policies that govern every institution and also the law. And talking about the law, we are talking about industrial relations aspect of law, not just a question of just any legalistic position per se. Now, therefore, any step taken to misinterpret both the policy and law, or misplace the law, or dislocate the whole thing is injurious to the health of people you are supposed to be taking care of. Now, if you recall, not the minister, but the president did state at the State of the Nation address that following some deaths that occurred in this country as a result of doctors returning on not attending to patients because of no bed syndrome, which became a topical issue, which I'm sure your station also discussed severally. Having the president stated that it is incumbent on the uh, minister and the board to ensure that this is carried out to the letter, regardless of how any group of people may feel about it. So I think that it is on the strength of that governance and protocol demands on the hands of the minister that he proceeded to demand from the board of directors of Confanoche Hospital Teaching Hospital to suspend the CEO from his duties as a result of not carrying out that ultimate decision made by the president himself in the State of the Nation address to Parliament. I think these are clear-cut things and two distinct things. One, the president's directive, regardless of the circumstance that may be prevailing. There can be arrangements, if we are to talk about professionalism, worked out in tandem with the board that oversees the activities of that hospital, sort of reverse referral. That is to say that if it is possible and there is somebody who is in critical condition and have been brought to your hospital, you can first attend to the fellow by stabilizing and getting the person back to where the referral took place. And you, as the experts, can be doing visiting kind of, you can visit the patient there and continue to take care of the patient. That is something that is not a strange thing to do. But to totally go against now the law, our labor law is an applied law, not a law for interpretation, because the law has already been interpreted within the law, and it's for practitioners to practice. It's not for legalistic things. And so, if we take the law, it's because we do know things like this may happen, that provision has been made for issues that may be of concern to doctors to be addressed and to all health workers to be addressed within 72 hours when it occurs. And there are structures put in place knowing that there can be bias, knowing that there can be perceptions in a negative way. We set aside the National Labour Commission to oversee such things so that there will be total unbiased kind of thing. That is why the selection and inauguration of the Labour Commission is in a tripartite form, and they are totally independent, and is one of the institutions that are reasonably independent, and it's not an appendage of any government. So, with that in mind, the Labour Commission will be available if they are unable to resolve their own differences in their backyard. Then they go to the commission, where they will trigger a step to be followed and conduct compulsory arbitration where necessary. But the matter can be put to rest. But for them to take the ultimate decision to sort of go on strike, which is prohibited under the law, under the law, it is prohibited for anybody in the essential services to carry out any such thing in the system. But we don't obey policies and laws in Ghana. It's a very common phenomenon. We don't obey. We don't respect any such thing. And so, out of whatever they want to describe it to be, that doctors are overwhelmed. Everybody is overwhelmed. Even me, the president, I'm sure, catch sleep not more than 3 hours a day. Even as he's trying to catch a sleep, I'm sure there are radio, kind of telephone hanging around his neck. So it's not easy for anybody, for any profession for that matter. So I'm not happy that they are on strike.
Mm.
We can only appeal to them to go back. The minister, yes. Is there anything he and the board could do differently? Well, if somebody were to be in their shoes, perhaps they may find it difficult, but it's also doable. The CEO could have been maybe made to go on leave or, step aside. But if the word I'm hearing, the language I'm hearing, that is suspended, suspension is a punishment. It's a mild punishment. It's a form of punishment. And nobody can be punished twice for a singular offense if found to be unwholesome. Therefore, suspending him, technically, somebody should have advised both the minister and the board that you cannot carry out a suspension without finally judging the matter and finding it to be true that way. But if that is the style, that is also another matter altogether.
So for you, using the word suspension, it amounts to finding him guilty even before you listen to him.
Precisely so.
Okay. What the Labour Commission has done is to declare the strike illegal. From your analysis, that seemed to be the obvious response. But you're suggesting that it will take more than that to solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they shouldn't even go on what anybody would describe as illegal. They shouldn't. They are prohibited. The law says they are prohibited from even attempting to go on strike. You are protecting the health of your customers, patients, and you have declared a strike. So what are you therefore doing? So the decision you made, the clinical decision you made, sort of protect the interests of your patients and your profession. It smacks in the face of it.
And that is problematic, is it not? Because in this case, it's not as if something that has happened that directly affects every member of the Ghana Medical Association. The government can argue that the person they are dealing with is someone who is an appointee of the government. For the Ghana Medical Association to just stand up and decide that we are going on strike, is it not getting to a point where we should be worried that they are using lives as ransoms in every situation?
Again, under the law, Section 8, A, the only person that can discipline somebody is the employer, not the union, not the worker. Is the employer. But the employer too have to follow steps. And the steps include investigating and ultimately finding out that the thing indeed occurred. Then they can either suspend, terminate, or dismiss. There are these options that are available. Or caution. They are all part and parcel of punishment, But if you jump to conclusion, that's what it is. That's how it will be read and misread. Now we are all suffering because they have dislocated the system by not applying the law well, not applying the processes that to be gone through, and therefore misinterpreting the very law which is a very simplified law. It's not complicated at all. There is nowhere there to fall in the labor law. Therefore, you don't need anybody to interpret. The law interprets itself, and there's clarity in it. Those who are either clamoring and making certain unfounded decisions clearly out of date, and this is not the time, of course, to be fanning the blame syndrome. What is important is they should understand that they are not supposed to go on strike. They should go back to work while the matter is being looked into by either the Labour Commission or the appropriate body.
In this case, what should the ministry do?
The ministry itself also should have formally, I don't know whether they did that, I wasn't in the country, but they should have formally written to the National Labour Commission. People should know that there are structures, and we have a Labour Commission. I do know the government has appointed a new executive secretary for the National ADR Center. It's not yet in full fruition. If that's another layer people can take advantage of and go there for a solution to their problem. So I think that it's important that we as a country begin to do what is right, and also accepting and in obedience to the laws of the country, like it's been done in other countries. You know, even Africa here, you go to Rwanda, they obey their laws to the letter. You won't have this kind of awful kind of building just anyhow, like we do without reasoning in this country. There you will see one plastic rubber in the whole of the light of Accra, Kigali. You won't find one single rubber, just empty rubber or empty bottle lying anywhere in the whole of Kigali. I made sure I went around, and you can sleep in their gutter if there's no rain. It's clean, very clean. The whole place flowery. But we have people in charge of horticulture under the Ministry of Local Government. We pay them, and yet, where is the horticulture system in Ghana here? Almost zero. They have trees. They have virtually man-made forest all over, providing the green nature of the place. Here, we don't obey nothing. No laws are obeyed. And that's exactly what we are going through now.
And let me conclude then by reading to you. There's a portion of the statement that was issued by the Ghana Medical Association, and I want to take your thoughts on it. It says the Ghana Medical Association also expresses our utmost displeasure at the actions of the Minister of Health, Honorable Kobna Minta-Kando, that have directly or indirectly sought to incite the public against the health workers, with this associated increasing general demotivation of health professionals and incidents of violence against health workers. We call on the minister to cease these hostile and confrontational actions and engage constructively to ensure improved morale and continued support of health workers towards achieving objectives of the sector. Does it put into context the reaction of the Ghana Medical Association? And is this a relationship that's going south between them and the health ministry?
Well, from day one, that's maybe might need to, somebody can describe it as perception. But from day one, it does appear there is a negative perception around the neck of the Honorable Minister by some people in the health sector. If you are not in their shoes, it appears you are not regarded. I think that is most unfair. This is a negative perception about the man. if they were to be in their shoes, in his shoe, will he sit down unconcerned? Style may differ. It's not everybody who is like me or you or somebody. The way we use the protocols of language may differ from person to person. I, as a mediator, as a labor relations person and HR, there are certain language or words that will never emerge out of me. But it's not everybody who is like you, like me, and therefore you cannot be using style, even though it's very important as a criteria for judging somebody. He appears to be disliked because maybe he's not from among them. They should stop that. It's not fair. We all didn't have the same opportunity by going to medical school or being a lawyer. If a medical person ran into some problem, they go for lawyers. I teach professors in my class. I teach lawyers in my class. I teach doctors in my class. Now, it does not mean I am better than them. But in this subject area of conflict resolution, HR, you cannot just beat everybody when you are a doctor or a lawyer or this. You have to learn to subordinate yourself to somebody with greater appreciation of the subject matter. So all of us must humble ourselves, yield to people who know a little in their area of work. I think the Honorable Minta Akando is a human being. He can make mistakes, but I think he is largely misunderstood, and it's not fair. I was born in Gold Coast. I live with you in Ghana here, and I think that that spirit of the Ghanaian not liking somebody because it's not one of you is becoming a burdensome stone on our necks. We must desist from it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
I'm most grateful.
Well, that's Mr. Austin Gamey, labor dispute resolution expert, and of course, consultant, speaking to us this morning. He always says that one of the biggest problems is that people act against the laws. Oh, okay. I just saw Mr. Philip London pass by. It's been a long time. I'm sure it's been a long time since it was in Alaji studio. Taking us exactly 39 minutes past 9 here. So it's one of the things that we are discussing this morning. If you realize, we've been discussing a couple of things this morning. We've even done sports and other things. We're speaking to Alaji Yunusa Husseinu shortly on a few things, on some of the discussions we've been having this morning, especially on the matter of the awards issue.